refuse to sit here and act like it's okay. It ain't the same thing as a job. If I own a store...
Right into simple wording, the NBA has always been built on one clear rule. You earn your place. You work hard in high school. You stand out in college. You prove you deserve it. Then, if you're good enough, you hear your name called on draft night. That's how it's always worked. That's how the league built its name. But now people are asking a big question. What happens when the biggest star in today's game seems to play by different rules when it comes to his own son? That's where the Bronny James story begins. And Rob Parker just shocked the sports world with one of the strongest rants we've heard all year.
Bronny's not right, and he proved this year he's ready? He's not ready for the NBA. He's a marginal player at best. I refuse to sit here and act like it's okay. It ain't the same thing as a job. If I own a store or I own something, that you people hire people all the time. It still ain't right. I just said that from the jump.
Okay.
Nepotism ain't right.
Okay.
It's a disgrace. Anybody who's ever played sports and had to compete for a spot, for a guy to put their kid on it, it happens all the time, and it's wrong. It's wrong in Little League. It's wrong in high school. It's wrong in college, and it's wrong.
This isn't just normal basketball talk anymore. Now it's about fairness. It's about legacy. It's about whether LeBron James is getting a level of protection that no other superstar in sports history would get. Rob Parker didn't hold back. He said straight up, nepotism isn't right, and made it clear from the beginning he wasn't changing his stance. But the conversation goes even deeper. In June 2025, Danny Ainge, CEO of the Utah Jazz, hired his son, Austin Ainge, as president of basketball operations. That means the person running basketball decisions in Utah is the owner's son. And here's what people are quietly pointing out. Every major basketball position Austin has had came while his father was in charge.
Well, I own something that you people hire people all the time. It still ain't right. I just said that from the jump.
Okay.
Nepotism ain't right.
To keep it fair, Austin Ainge's resume isn't empty. He spent 17 years with the Boston Celtics organization. He began as a G League coach in 2009, moved into scouting, worked his way into player personnel, and served the last 6 years as assistant general manager. He played a role in building championship-level teams, including Boston's 2024 NBA title run.
News broke out of Utah that Danny Ainge, the CEO of the Utah Jazz, has hired his son, Austin Ainge, to be the new president of basketball ops. Now, you think that might be a coincidence, except every major basketball-related job that Austin Ainge has ever had in his career has been with his father. So, guys, here's the question. Why is it that Bronny James is the poster child for nepotism, while Austin Ainge seems to fly under the radar?
That's real.
But Rob Parker isn't ignoring the optics. Austin got his first NBA opportunity while his father was running the Celtics. Now he's reunited with him again in Utah. The resume is solid, no question. But the look of it? That's harder to overlook. And that's where Parker draws the line, now the conversation gets uncomfortable. Why does one situation feel louder than the other? Is it because one role is on the court and the other is behind a desk? Is it because LeBron James draws more attention than anyone else in the league? Or is there something deeper at play?
To get on the field, the reason that this country is 70% white and the NBA 75% black is because you have to earn your way onto the field.
Parker doubled down on the idea that sports are supposed to be different. In his view, this isn't corporate America. It isn't Hollywood. It's not an industry where connections outweigh ability. Sports, he argues, are supposed to be about earning your spot, about performance, about talent that speaks for itself without favors attached. That's the core of his point, that he believes that once you start bending the rules for family ties, you chip away at the foundation. When fathers begin pulling strings for their kids, the system no longer looks pure, and that perception matters.
It's a disservice to everybody who puts on a uniform, who has to compete. Michael Jordan owned a damn team. He didn't put his two sons on the team. He could have. Jerry Jones owns the Dallas Cowboys. He could have put his team, his sons on the team and said, what does it matter? They're only the last guys on the end of the bench. People would be outraged.
That's the heart of what he's saying. And honestly, it hits harder than many people want to admit. Just picture this for a moment. Imagine if Michael Jordan had drafted his sons, Marcus Jordan and Jeffrey Jordan, to play for the Charlotte Hornets while he owned the team. Sports radio would have exploded. Social media would have melted down. Headlines everywhere. Debate shows arguing all week. But when LeBron James publicly supports his son entering the league, half the basketball world shrugs and says, relax. And that contrast, that difference in reaction, is exactly what Rob Parker is calling out.
It happens all the time. It happens with coaches. It happens with guys who are behind staffers, in the executive offices. It happens with lawyers. It happens with so many people. That's just part of life, literally.
It's the 55th pick. Who cares? That's what a lot of people keep saying. But Rob Parker cares, and he's calling it exactly how he sees it. Now, to be fair, there's another side to this debate. The counterargument is simple. Nepotism exists everywhere. It's part of American life. A parent knows someone, that person makes a call, and suddenly a door opens. An internship appears. An opportunity shows up. That's how the world often works. Almost everyone knows somebody who got a job through a connection. Almost everyone has heard a story where a parent helped make something happen.
I refuse to sit here and act like it's okay. It ain't the same thing as a job. If I own a store or I own something, that you people hire people all the time. It still ain't right. I just said that from the jump.
Okay.
Nepotism.
Networking is often called the backbone of professional success. Your network is your net worth. That's the slogan people repeat all the time. But this is where Rob Parker draws a hard line, and it makes people uncomfortable. He argues that sports are supposed to be different. When you're battling for a roster spot, your last name shouldn't matter. Your connections shouldn't buy you minutes. What should matter is simple. Can you guard your matchup? Can you hit an open three? Can you make a play when the game is on the line? Parker isn't even defending nepotism in business. His point is that basketball, unlike most industries, is built on visible performance. There's a scoreboard. There's tape. There's nowhere to hide.
Can't name me another player in that draft outside of one or two players. The draft was not good. There were not great players, and especially in the second round with a bunch of guys who we will never hear from again.
He says it's wrong there too. But in sports, it hits harder because now you're talking about competitive integrity. You're touching the core of what makes the game respected in the first place. The most common defense of the Bronny James pick sounds like this. Relax, it's the 55th pick. Second rounders rarely pan out anyway. Why does it even matter? And yes, there's some truth to that. Late second round picks are long shots. Many never stick. Many never see real minutes. But Parker's argument isn't about the odds. It's about the principle. Even if the chances are small, the opportunity still belongs to someone. And in a league this competitive, every opportunity means something.
The idea that LeBron James, what he's meant to the league, what he means currently even to the league, would not help his son get drafted, to me was crazy.
Second round picks are basically lottery tickets. Sometimes you strike gold. Most of the time, you don't. But here's the pushback. Just because late picks often flame out doesn't mean you treat them like throwaways. It doesn't mean you use one on a family favor. There are undrafted players who've been grinding for years, waiting for one real opportunity. There are international prospects fighting to break through, hoping one team gives them a chance. For them, that pick isn't small. It's everything.
That's what stopped black people from getting jobs forever. We could never get into places because people were hiring their cousins and their friends. I'm talking from experience.
There are G League standouts who've proven themselves year after year. And you're telling me Bronny James, who averaged 4.8 points per game at USC and still looked like he was finding his footing at that level, deserves that roster spot over all of them. That's where the critics say the logic breaks down. Let's be honest, LeBron James is one of the greatest to ever play the game. He's made billions in the NBA. He's lifted franchises from the ground up. He's a global brand all on his own.
And Bronny's not right, and he proved this year he's not ready. He's not ready for the NBA. He's a marginal player at best.
So when someone of that stature says, I want to play with my son before I retire, teams are going to listen. The Lakers didn't draft Bronny because they saw the next superstar guard. They drafted him because keeping LeBron James happy means keeping LeBron James in Los Angeles. That strategy. That's business. That's leverage in action.
It ain't right.
If you want to go
and it
experience-
ain't right with LeBron and Bronny.
Okay.
It ain't right with Danny Ainge and his kid.
From a power standpoint, it makes sense. LeBron James has earned influence. He is LeBron James. But Rob Parker's question cuts deeper. Just because you can bend the system, does that mean you should? Once you start adjusting standard for superstars, where does the line stop? What happens when the next generational icon wants to bring along someone who isn't ready either? Do we keep lowering the bar? Parker says absolutely not. And he's ready to stand alone on that hill if he has to dot here's where it gets uncomfortable. Parker highlights a broader issue many would rather avoid. Nepotism has historically been one of the biggest barriers for Black Americans trying to break into powerful industries. For decades, old boys networks controlled access. Jobs were handed through family ties, private circles, and alumni connections. If you weren't in the loop, you weren't getting through the door. That history is real. So when Parker sees LeBron James,